Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have Aditya Prakash Shukla with us. He have recently cracked ABI and today he will be discussing selection process as well as interview experience. So make sure you watch the video till end and in case you are new to this channel, please subscribe to this channel. Now I ask Aditya to introduce himself in brief.
Thank you, Pankaj, for inviting me to share my experience. Basically, myself, Aditya Prakash Shukla, and I am a fourth year BTech student in VIT Vellore. And I did my engineering in IT, like information technology. So, I will introduce my company which I recently joined as an intern, AB Inbev, a user bus Inbev, and it is a beer brand company. Like they produce Budweiser, Corona Extra, and Hogarden and Hewart 5000 and several brands. And they are now in India. They are in Bangalore. So basically, they are like beer brand They are product based company, you can say.
Okay.
So it
So
was
now
all
can you
about
tell
my
about
company brief.
okay. So now can you tell about your online coding test type of questions asked and what was the pattern?
Yeah. So basically, it was total. There was 3 rounds, and first round was coding round. Not basically coding round. It was mixed with 30 MCQ of aptitude and then one coding question. So we were all about 1.5 hour for that, and we need to do all the question. And the grades for that coding test was ended up within the time. Like if you will end your test, there will be a grade there, and you can see your marks. So it was like 28 for me, and I got selected for the next round. And I can say the coding question was not a bit tough. It was intermediate level, and it was just a linked list question for me. And for my several friends, they were getting like on different questions. The question was not same for all. So and the aptitude was a bit I can say hard, and somewhat like 10 to 20 question was intermediate. And then I will talk about the second round. It was group discussion. The second round, it was group discussion round. There were several teams, like I can say 2 9 teams were there, like P1, P2, P3, like that. And within that, there were several teams which were divided in 6 or 7 of each. And then they asked us to like they gave us one topic, like how can you sell your like they are beer company. So they told us to like they gave us the task to how can you increase their production in urban areas. So we were like started with the merit of beer, and we will try to like uh, tell everything that what it does or what it doesn't. So there were 30 30 minutes all round. There was 30 minutes of group discussion round. So then at last they gave us 5 minutes to compile the conclusion, and ended up with this second round. Third round was personal interview and HR. It was combined. So first 35 minutes they talked about my like technical skill, and then they ended up with my HR round. So I will say for first minute they told me to introduce myself. So it was just 1 minute brief introduction of myself, and then I think they had my resume, obviously. So they asked me about my previous intern project and my college project, and whichever I mentioned in my resume, they asked. So I started with my Android development project, which I had done with Firebase. So they asked about me about this Firebase thing, and like some questions in Android. If you have done every project, if you would done like React.js project, they will ask about that. So they asked me about like what is recycler view, what is how can you and the most important question was that what is the difference between SQL and no SQL? Because I used Firebase, I needed to describe them the benefit of uh, like Firebase and how did I integrate that. And they asked me about the only just like 2 or 3 line of code, which is like global code, which everyone knows about Firebase. That how can you connect that? So it was just like 10 minute about my projects, and then they move on to my like OS and oops skill. So they asked me about few questions like about the difference between abstract class and interface, and some question about polymorphism, and like they move on to my OS, like they judged me on my OS question. It was just easy questions, not that much hard question. And then they asked me about some, they are beer company, so they asked me about some management skill, like and some how the production going on in within the company. So they asked me about the supply chain management, cash flow and all. So I described them that I was not that much familiar with these words. So I told them that I am not comfortable with these words and I am not comfortable in production area. So they again asked me about my like project again, and they gave me one coding question, which was like for 10 minutes it was just basic tree question, level order travels. So and then I started doing, and first 2 minutes I described them the logic, and then I started doing. For 5 minutes they told me to stop because I was like going right. They told me to stop there, and then they asked me about the company, like how is your like experience till now, how is your interview going. So I just told them that how is my like this round, am I comfortable to join this company or not. So they told me to wait for 5 minutes, and I asked about that what is the need of like software engineer in their company. So they told me about the data analyst role, how they analyze the brand, products, sales and all. And then they told me to wait for 5 minutes, and then I was on like I was muted. So then they came and asked me about the HR questions, like uh, basic HR questions, that would you like to relocate and all. And just it was only 2 or 3 minutes, it was only one or two questions about HR. And then they told me to wait for the result. And after one day we got mail from our college, and I was there in that list.
So once again, congratulations, Aditya, and all the best for your future ahead. And
Thank you
now,
so
can you
much.
give some tips and how you prepared for the interview as well as your coding experience for the viewers?
Yeah. For coding I will uh, I must say that you need to practice like not hard DSA question. You first need to manage how to do the basic question, like not basic, like if you are doing linked list, so you need to crack every question, like famous questions of linked list from lead code and GFG. I will prefer people to do lead code and do every easy question and medium question of each topic if you have enough time. And if you have not enough time, you can do the easy questions and some famous questions from lead code. And you need to do some topics like linked list, tree, DP, and like recursion, stack. Like these are the must question they will ask to you in the interview rounds. And I will try to like I will recommend the striver sheet for that. That is very useful for the placement. And one more
Most of the
striver,
questions
yeah,
are
one more
hard.
striver sheet is there for CS fundamentals, OS, OOPS,
Hmm.
and DBMS and all. So I will recommend that also. So
It's
you
great
need to
course.
do DSA daily for that. 2 or 3 question. No, It is not that you will do 10 questions, then only you will get. You need to do 2 or 3 questions daily if you have enough time, and if you have not enough time, you can do 5 or 6 questions daily on each topic. Like you need to do it for the coding rounds and for interview rounds as well.
Okay. So thank you for coming and sharing your interview experience.
Thank
So
you, Pankaj. Thank you everyone for having me.